So now I must put a little precursor here.
Yeah.
Because what's going to come out of my mouth, we need to package it as, I'm in my 50s.
Yes.
So I'm not a millennial,
Yeah.
like all this. I mean, I'm out of my depth to speak about the
Yes.
youngsters.
Yeah.
But now at the same time, if that belief does not result in your output being the best, that's why it was so important for us to become number one in this country.
Yeah.
Because then that's evidence
Yeah.
that diversity works. Right now, currently, in the globe, one of the top indie agencies are not diverse, and they're number one. So that to me is a problem, because they're making a case against diversity. So it becomes our duty as an example, as a shining example agency, to keep on pushing our transformation agenda, but directly link it to being the best, so that it validates it. I mean, I'll give you an example, and that's the thing. Like I can do math, that's one of my talents. And if you keep on persisting the narrative that transformation remains like on a minority group's shoulders, that to me is you're not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
There's enough people that's been brought up into the top end of the industry, of the economy, to unite and stand together and uplift the 80% of South Africans that have to get by on 7% of all the capital in the country. That's the stat. 1% earns 67% of all the money. 19% earns 26% of all the money. And the rest, the 80%, must get by on 7% of the capital. That is wrong. That 1% and the next 19% is literally probably 2 million whites and 6 million blacks. So we need to unite and uplift the economic disempowered people together. So for me, if I'm a black South African and I start with my black partner a new business, and we're both male, it's our duty to bring women into that business. It's our duty to participate in transformation as aggressively as we do. And I think hopefully in time that will start to happen again. Where we actually see this challenge that we're facing as all of our challenge and participated in it collectively. But I'm just saying, if I look at the creative industry, can now, the guy who won the Lion of St. Mark, 90 years old, he's still working. So
I don't know the guy.
Clint Eastwood still directing. Lee Cloud, 78, still working on Apple. So I suppose it depends on depends on the person.
Depends on the person.
How does culture influence marketing?
It will always be relevant purely because of the fact that it helps keep you honest. It keeps you at the curve of what is going on.
Marketing needs to move at the speed of culture,
which plays a role in shaping our sense.
Welcome to the Culture Code podcast. In this podcast, we'll be telling stories of how influential culture is in business. You'll hear from some of the African culture curators on how culture can be used to drive good results through marketing and advertising campaigns. Now, here's the host of the Culture Code podcast, Tebogo K.
Today's episode, we're hanging out with the doctor in the advertising industry, Dr. Pepe Marais. Welcome, Doctor.
Thanks, Tebogo.
You good?
I'm very good, thank you very much.
Thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah. I get a little bit nervous, you know. I'm talking to a doctor.
I also get a bit nervous.
Yeah, it's a bit like,
I'm hoping we both are being recorded. That'll be like a thing. Afterwards you go like, oh, we didn't press record.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell happened, you know? But you know, in our society, it's kind of tricky, you know, like when, people. I mean, I think in your book, you talk about how you attended a talk. You're giving a talk at the State Theatre or something, and when you're registering at the front desk, you told them you are a doctor, and this is way before you were even a doctor, right? And you go on to talk about how, as soon as you gave the talk and you told people that actually, I was just joking, and then you lost the concentration of everybody. So please take me through that whole how that whole thing went.
So it was about 300 micro entrepreneurs, and South African breweries, one of our clients, asked me to speak to, just to come and inspire them.
Yeah.
Because we're a middle-sized entrepreneurial concern. And I did exactly that because I'm creative.
Yeah.
And yes, we also serious, but we also like to have fun. And I could choose Mr., Mrs. or Doctor. And I made a joke. So they printed the tag, Dr.Pepe Marais. And they introduced me, because they looked at the tag, as Dr.Pepe Marais. And everyone was more interested in what I was going to say. I could see it.
Yeah.
I wasn't imagining it. I suppose it's the same as if you have some financial guy that looks after your money. If he drives a Porsche, you're going to go, okay, he looks after my money well. And if he drives a old rusted car, you're going to go, ooh, I can't trust him.
You don't trust him like
everything's perception.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if the bank owns the car. And then when I came clean 20 minutes later, I definitely had I could sense, not even sense, I could see people were disappointed.
Yeah.
Because suddenly they judged my words, what I told them at that stage, against, okay, maybe he's not a doctor, so it's not true.
It's not credible, yeah.
And in that moment, I decided I'm going to become a doctor because I saw the level of credibility it can give you in terms of your words. Not knowing the journey that it would be to become a doctor, because I've only got a design diploma. And then they've got a thing called the RPL, the record of prior learning. So 30 years, or at that stage about 26 years in advertising. So that counts for one credit. And then I had to do a postgraduate. Then I had to do a master's. And only then could I start on this journey of becoming a doctor.
Sure. So you've been at it for a while now.
I'm done now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that before.
Oh no, this started in 2018 and I only completed last year, 2023. So it's a 6-year journey.
Yeah.
That's like redoing matric.
Just, yeah.
Well, not matric, high school.
High school.
That's like redoing grade 7
and how
to 12.
difficult was it? I mean, you are not a young guy. So you must have been what, in your 50s, for 50?
Yeah. I was actually on the nose 50 when I started. I'm 56 this year.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I was the oldest guy in the class throughout.
Yeah.
But I was also, that's what's so interesting, because I'm a creative and I'm an entrepreneur, and I used to slate academia. So I used to go like, because I did terrible at school. I didn't get a matric exemption. But I think the age gave me the maturity to really take it seriously. So I really put in the effort. So I was, and I love competition. So I was top of my class. A doctorate, you can't be top of your class. There's no grading in a doctorate. You just have to get your thesis through or not and accept it internationally. But yeah, amazing. I can highly recommend it to anyone. I'll probably wait for my son to finish school. He's in grade 10 now, so 2 more years, and then I'll do another one. I'll probably do a second doctorate.
Jeez.
I'm interested in another subject.
Yeah. But I think for me, the question now becomes, you're a creative. And as creatives, we don't necessarily go deeper in study, in terms of study. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. And I'm not saying education is not important. It's very important. But I think in creativity, or in creative industries, we rely more on our creativity, to drive our work. We drive what comes natural to us, which is creativity. So for me, I was asking myself, okay, Dr. P is studying, and now you are telling me you want to study even further, and like, what is it a personal thing, or does it add to your work?
Sure, there are a lot of things in what you just asked. So the first thing is we have to ask ourselves, what is creativity? Because often subsets of creativity is art forms like singing and dancing and writing, painting. That's a subset. Those are the art forms underneath the concept of creativity. But then to me, if I really think about what is creativity, it's the ability to think. that to me is what's real creativity, the ability to critically think of new concepts, because we often just regurgitate the past. So if I'm born in an Afrikaans home, so then I'll believe in the religion of my parents.
Yeah.
I'll eat the food of my parents. I'll believe in the political party of my parents. And so I grow up and the whole society forms my thinking.
Yeah.
So then when I'm an adult, I think, but actually I'm just regurgitating someone else's thinking. And they regurgitating the previous people's thinking. So not many people actually really think. That's why there's this saying that says 2% of people think, 3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think. So creativity to me is about thinking. It's also linked to language. When I look at conceptual communication, always, if I just think of it globally within English as a Western neutral language, copy really is at the heart of ideation. You know, so if I go and look at Under Armour's commercial with Michael Phelps,
it's the last goodbye, I swear. I have no regrets, for the past is behind me. Tomorrow reminds me just where. Can't quite see the end. How can I rely on my heart if I break it with my own two hands? I heard all you said, don't say anything. It's the last goodbye, I swear.
swimming. I mean, where's the concept? He's just practicing hard in the dark at night, early in the mornings. And then the copy line at the end says, it's what you do in the dark that puts you in the light. Now that construction of that copy is beautiful. So the academia to me actually started evolving my own critical thinking. So not just being 99% intuitively heart-based, which is super powerful, but bring into it a bit of balance and this ability to appreciate data and analytics and facts. And a lot of people in our country, we have huge opinions that aren't always rooted in the truth. They're rooted in deep emotions. So I've been loving it, but it's also linked to my side hustle, which is development of people and purpose.
Yeah.
And learning more about a subject that I think is hugely needed to unlock individual creativity. Because creative people are all in fear, we're insecure,
Yep.
we suffer from not being good enough, we suffer from imposter syndrome. So it's my passion for this side hustle of mine called Purpose, because that's what I did my doctorate on. And how I can use this insight to unlock people's creativity within the business of advertising.
Damn, you take your side hustle very seriously.
I do take it very
You
seriously.
take it very seriously. For you to even go study doctorate, geez, do your doctorate on it. You take it very seriously.
Yeah, and if you look at the time, I mean, that's like 6 years of, I would say, 80% of every year, every single Saturday and Sunday working 8 to 10 hours. And every morning from 4 to 6.
Sure.
So the effort, I'm talking thousands of hours outside of business.
Yeah.
And then in my final year of my doctorate, I did ask the board to give me 3 months off to just focus,
Yeah.
which helped a lot.
Yeah. Sure. Wow. Jeez, yeah. I love your side hustle. It's proper. It's one for the books, eh?
It's a proper side hustle.
It's a proper side
I mean,
hustle.
I just did a big side hustle contract with one of the biggest banks. I got permission from our client because it is outside of advertising, and the doctorate is what opened the doors.
Yeah.
So immediately when they realized, or when I told them my qualification, pretty much signed me up on the spot. So it opens doors massively.
So what are you doing with them now?
I help corporate organizations to find purpose for their businesses beyond profit and beyond product.
Yeah.
So the same idea of why are you in business?
Yeah.
Because most people assume that we're in business to make money.
Yeah.
And that's not the correct assumption.
Yeah. No, in my office, I was telling the guys in the office that, Joe, I sat with Dr. P the other day, and he was telling me about there should be a greater purpose than just money. And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're here to make money. So
that is the wrongest assumption in the world.
Yeah.
And it was perpetuated by a gentleman in the 70s called Milton Friedman. And he went on to win a Nobel Peace Prize.
Sure.
So now that even gives him more clout, much more than a doctorate. Because now he's this economist that wins a Nobel Peace Prize, and he was advocating very loudly that the business of business is business. The purpose of business is to make money.
Yeah.
And he was only contradicted a decade later, interestingly, by a gentleman called Freeman, who was a professor, I think, at Harvard, that said, no, we can't just be in business for money. Because if you think about it, not many people make real money.
Yeah.
And the people who make real money, if you look at the people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, George Bezos, we talk now abundance of money.
Yeah.
Not just
serious money.
we make a few millions. They make like a couple of $100 million.
Yeah.
Those people are not in business to make money, because then they would have stopped.
Yeah.
They've got a far, far higher purpose.
That's why even when they lose the money, I mean, Elon Musk has been on the billion mark, dropped, like he loses money all the time, and he just keeps on going.
Because they've got a greater sense of purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Jobs definitely never defined it. When he passed away, I don't get a sense that Apple understands at its core why they exist. He knew why they existed.
Yeah.
He wanted to give creative people all over the world a tool that could unlock their own creativity. And that's what he was going for.
Yeah.
And you could sense it. I mean, that man was a CEO, and he was so obsessed about that product, more so than the designers.
Yeah.
Which also is an insight.
So tell me about now you're doing something with one of your clients, I think, which is this is now purposeful leadership. That's what it is, right? Because, I mean, or rather, you've been talking a lot more about purposeful leadership. What is that?
So, sure, I can go on, eh?
Yeah, no.
It's going to be a long podcast.
Yeah.
So, this is the insight. I'll give you a few little examples.
Yeah.
So, when Joe Public started, 1998, I loved advertising. I still love advertising. I love creativity. I love ideas. I just love doing beautiful work that resonates with people.
Yeah.
We don't do enough of it, but when we do, it creates huge amounts of happiness and joy. So we started, that's what we wanted to do. We were very clear on what we wanted to do. But if you ask me why did we start the business, it was to make money.
Yes.
To make more money than a salary that I earned at Network.
So the narrative has changed from then to now.
Of course, because we're not aware, too young.
Yeah.
Too young and too dumb.
Yeah.
So we start. And we're so focused and so obsessed about the product, we don't really interrogate why we do it. But if we had to ask ourselves, it would have been to make money.
Yeah.
That led to bankruptcy 10 years later. So that to me is quite significant. Now, most people don't have that gift that you go bankrupt, because that's a huge gift. Because now, firstly, it makes you ask questions like, how's that possible? I'm excellent at what I do. I work hard. I'm passionate about it. I'm a pretty decent person. I don't always behave decent, but my intention's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I end up with nothing.
Sure.
Why?
Why?
So because normally we don't have those breakdowns that leads to a certain level of spiritual or breakthrough in understanding. So we just continue in the normal way from Monday to Friday. Hey, it's Friday. And then Sunday I'm a bit nervous and Monday starts. And I go through another week. There's no plan, there's no strategy, there's no long-term objective. It's just, you're just on this treadmill. And that experience in 2006, 2007 led me to figure out why I do what I do on a personal level. And then when I saw the shift in my life, because in the absence of figuring out why you do what you do, it's very self-serving. Everything you do is just for yourself. It's all about just me, my ego. I want to drive a nice car. I want to live in a nice house. I want to wear nice clothes. I want to have a nice business. It's me.
Yeah.
But when I figured out the why, my reason for being, it became more about serving others, which is subtle.
Yeah.
Very subtle. And suddenly, going into that service mode, things started to flow into my life. And then I asked, you very quickly, we look at nature and you look at the sun and it doesn't, it shines to serve the planet, not to serve itself. And rivers don't drink itself. And apple trees don't eat its own apples. All of nature serves the rest of the system. But as humans, we do everything just on the take. And nature is abundant and humans aren't. We're scarce. So there's two cities, scarcity and generosity.
Yeah.
We live in scarcity. Most of us, very, very few people are abundant. So I just step into more of service based on my newfound purpose. Saw a shift in my life and then had the idea to bring this approach into business, into our business.
Yeah.
Because that's what we can control. I can't control the economy or the government or the country, but I can control, to a degree, our business. And not control us with an iron fist, more it's our playing field where we've got enough say to bring things into the business that serves all of its people.
Yeah.
And the business went from going down to going up. And that then built my belief.
But now how easy because does one have to go through what you went through for them to be like, okay, now I need to be, that I should have a greater purpose than just money? Do say for myself, for instance, do I have to go like, oh yeah, fuck, I've lost money. Now I need to find out what is the greater purpose to do what I'm doing. I mean, even the podcast. Why am I doing the podcast?
Yeah.
Does it have to fail for me to be like, oh shit, I was chasing the wrong model?
Unfortunately, it seems like it,
Yeah.
which is a pity. Because now most people don't actually go to that level of failure because most people work within jobs and they carve their lives around their salary and it increases 5% every year and get a little bonus and they keep on going till the day they retire. And that's why Jim Collins said good's the enemy of great, because they have good lives. And I'm not talking about the top. In our country it's crazy. But unfortunately it does seem you need some form of a breakdown to catch a bit of a wake up. I'm trying to figure out how one can do that without having a breakdown, but in the absence of it, I've not really seen people really wanting to take on this as a methodology. We'd rather keep on chasing the money. Phil Knight. Think about Phil Knight. In the early 70s, he listed Nike after 16 years. That's, I don't know where the saying comes from. It takes 16 years to become an overnight success.
Yes, it's crazy.
Because now suddenly he makes $110 million US in the 70s. That's an obscene amount of money today. And overnight, he's wealthy.
Yeah.
After 16
years
of barely getting through. And when he wrote the book Shoe Dog, I don't think most people see the wisdom in what he says towards the end of the book. But he writes and he says, we all understand that our bodies need blood to flow through it in order to live. If our blood stops flowing, we die. But if you ask me, why do I exist? It's not to make blood. You go like, why do you exist, Pepe? To make blood. No, we never say that.
Yeah.
So money is the lifeblood of business. If the blood doesn't flow through the business will die. There's no debate there.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, why does a business exist? It's not to make blood. And he got it.
Sure.
He really, really got it. He realized there's a greater purpose for Nike. And that's why Nike is a sustainable brand. Whether they're crystal clear on what that purpose is debatable.
Sure.
But there's something bigger that's driving that organization. And then, of course, the founders leave. New boards come in. We can see what's happening to Apple. And they lose the plot.
Yeah.
Because they all go back to the capitalistic model of serving a few of the shareholders. And they're missing the concept of what business should be. And time will tell. The businesses will fail.
Capitalistic models do work, though.
It's the best model.
It's the best model. I mean, you look at America, America is built in the back of that.
Yeah. No, I'm not negating that capitalism is the best model that we've got.
Yeah.
Like the pyramid. The pyramids in the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah.
Like 150,000 slaves built that for the benefit of one king. 6,000 years ago. That's the capitalistic model. Everyone working for the benefit of one king.
Yeah.
But what I subscribe to is a new form of capitalism called conscious capitalism, which has been around for about 6, 7, 8 years, maybe a bit more, driven by the CEO of Whole Foods in America, John Mackey. He's one of the protagonists. I mean, people like Patagonia, which takes the pyramid and turns it upside down. So say, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm still the leader of my pyramid, but now I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
And yes, because I'm still the highest placed person in my organization, and through my efforts and through the fact that I'm a co-founder, I would probably derive the most out of that business. But over time, I'll find mechanism to share that wealth.
Sure.
Because I'm serving people. So it's the same model.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So it's just more conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk takeaway advertising.
Yes.
The model. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys, when you started Joe Public, you had that model, takeaway advertising, which led you guys selling into a global network business. Please tell us how that went.
It was the greatest concept so far of my creative career. Conceived between a few of us over a bottle of red wine in Melville in 1997, and it was so powerful that we resigned on the spot and started a business with zero capital.
Yeah.
So
passion.
It was just like, that's one thing what ideas does.
Yeah.
Ideas do, plural. Yeah. Ideas do.
Yeah.
They create, if they're strong enough, they're so powerful that they'll make you believe in something until you see it. Not seeing is believing.
Yeah.
It flips the model of seeing is believing to believing is seeing. Because ideas, when they're so powerful, you just believe in them.
Yeah.
Which is similar to it's not my concept purpose, but my experience with this concept of purpose.
Yeah.
And the take that I've put on it. It's so powerful as an idea that I believe in it so much that I'm naturally seeing this amazing outcome of it. Same with takeaway advertising. Like, let's start a restaurant model where we don't sell our time, we sell our thinking.
Yeah.
Because your time's limited. You've only got 16 hours a day and 8 hours you must sleep.
Yeah.
So if you charge for your time, I mean, it's crazy. But if you charge for your thinking, you can come up with an idea in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we had rare, medium, and well-done ideas.
Yeah.
On a menu at a price point. And that massively differentiated us when we came into the market. Joe Public takeaway advertising. And we called it Joe Public for the man and the woman on the street. We wanted to make advertising. That's what we thought. As it turns out, the Joe Human, which is not just a man anymore, it's a Joe Human, is about people.
Yeah.
It's about putting people at the heart of the organization and serving their growth and the growth of our clients, because our clients are people too. And then the growth of our country. Country's made up of people too.
Yeah.
So it turns out the brand's all about people. But back then it was to do advertising for the man and woman on the street. And with this takeaway model, massively differentiated us. And that's what perked the interest of the internationals. So we thought.
Yeah.
They weren't really interested in the model. They were more interested in the capital. But yeah, it's fascinating. That model launched Amsterdam in 2011, and they stuck to that model for 10 years. But the takeaway model has got a challenge, the way we package it, because you perceive it to be cheap and fast.
Yeah.
And they try to also build it as cheap and fast. So in South Africa, we evolved to traditional agency. Amsterdam now is evolving to a traditional agency, but we have just relaunched takeaway in South Africa as our premier hot cuisine advertising.
So you have the same model now, the same model that you started with now in South Africa.
It's one of our offerings within our communication group. So takeaway is now more about taking away the laborious process of advertising, because advertising is over-processed.
Yeah.
What comes out at the end of it, you can just go and look in our market.
Yeah.
I always smile, because of course a big talking point in our industry is lack of transformation. But we're not actually speaking about what the real issue is, and that's lack of quality work. It's a very, very, very average industry based on its output.
Yeah.
The talent within it is spectacular. We've got the best talent probably in the world in this industry. That's why Accenture came in and bought all our agencies, because David Droger said this is the most creative country in the world.
Right.
So all the creatives are in this industry, but they don't get to do the caliber of work that they can do, because everything's over-processed. That's something that demands a huge discussion.
So and I know that you guys also, Accenture did come knock on your door to buy.
Yeah.
And why did you know it? I mean, surely the bag must have been big.
So I asked that. So that shows you the power of purpose. Okay, because ultimately purpose is strategy.
Yeah.
It's just a much deeper strategy. It's like a heart-based strategy.
Yeah.
It's not just based on your intellectual head. I want to be the best, so that is my reason. No, that's self-serving. So purpose, our purpose for Joe Public, the one word that the company stands for, because purpose in my book always starts with one word. The one word Joe Public stands for, you'd think it's creativity, because it's a creative agency.
Yeah.
Turns out it's growth. And then people go, but of course you want to grow. You just want to make more money. No, we defined what growth means, and growth means to serve the growth of our people, our clients, and our country through the power of creativity. So why we do it is to serve the growth of our people, our clients, and country. How we do it is just great work.
Yeah.
Because we're ad agency.
But now, how do you then get incentivized?
In terms of?
I'm just saying, you put in so much in that, the growth of the people.
Yes.
What do you get from that? What is your, because that's your purpose, right?
It's linked to, it's not the exact, it's not my personal purpose.
It's not your personal purpose.
No, my word is a different word. So as a founder, it's like a family. I'm a father to a son.
Yeah.
I don't expect my son's purpose to be the same as mine.
Of course.
Because then I'll enslave him.
Yes.
So business is like your child. If you're a founder of a business, that's like your bricks and mortar child.
Yeah.
So I've got my own purpose. Joe Public's got a different purpose.
Yeah.
My founding partner's got a different purpose.
Yeah.
But collectively, they all work together because they're linked.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, my question for you is that, do you because I mean, like, we do stuff, so you don't do this thing for money. You do it for the greatness, for growing the people, the human beings that, you know. But now, what do you get out of that? What is your thing? Is seeing people grow, and is that what you what drives you to do this?
Got you. Let me answer it two ways.
Sure.
Because there's a practical side to it too. Because now remember, money is the lifeblood of business.
Yes.
So if this thing's not linked to money, well, what's the purpose of business dies?
Yeah.
If it's not linked to doing great product, what's the purpose? You know, like for instance, the only thing we measure in business is the money. Now you suddenly have a business where people are unhappy doing rubbish work, but you're making a lot of money. Now you say that's a good business. How can that be a good business?
Yeah.
So business needs more measurables. So if you start with people, and I think this model can work for all businesses. If you start with growth and development of the skill set of your people.
Yeah.
So now immediately you're going to build more self-confident people. People that are excellent are happier. You can see that in sport, you can see that in music.
Yeah.
The better you play your instrument, the better you play your sport, the better you play the more you are Olympic corporate advertising exec, the more you love what you do. It builds self-confidence, it takes care of imposter syndrome. So everything you focus on is growing the ability of the person to be exceptional. And that just works on so many levels of just building sustainable human beings. The better that person, the better the product. That's just logic. The better the person, the better their ideas, the better their output, the better their craft, the better their thinking. That's the only thing we can do to serve the growth of our clients as an ad agency. Because McKinsey has proven multiple times, they've taken 16 years of canned real winning work, not the proactive stuff, the real work, like the Nike work, the Apple work. That work works 11 times more than non-award winning work. So the greater your work, the more you serve the growth of your clients as an ad agency, but you can apply this model to anything. And the greater that client's performance, the more sustainable they're going to stay with you. Nedbank's been with us for a decade. Clover's been with us for 20 years. You know, like we've got sustainable clients that pays us well, that makes a sustainable business. So now because of that, you create sustainable profit. And when you actually have more than profit, you have surplus, you can put back into society. And you can help, you can start a non-profit and you can help schools, or you can do whatever you want because you've got surplus now. You're not just hardly surviving.
Sure, yeah.
And you can start putting money back into the growth of your people. So it's like this virtuous cycle of growth. Doesn't negate money. It just means that you put people first, then product, then clients, then money. And then once you've got sustainable money, you start giving back. And planting back into the growth of people. So it's a beautiful model.
It's a beautiful model.
And it works. But to get people to see it, you know, so for instance, you'll make X amount of profit, and then normal businesses will sit and say, okay, next year we're going to grow by 10%. I mean, you should be saying, how can I improve my people by 10%? And in doing so, improve my product by 10%. That's what Apple does. And there's a lot of debates about Apple losing its way, but that's what Apple does. They focus on making their product better. The better the product, the more they can demand a higher price. But we don't. We just want to make more money without doing the work to add more value. So I think I forgot the original question.
No, the original question, I forgot the original question. What was the original question? I think the original question was that your incentives, like, but you answered it though. You got it. Yeah.
But the incentive is, think about it. Like, if we're all chasing happiness, okay? Let's say we're all chasing happiness. So we do. Every day we do. We're on this treadmill. In order to have more, because we do more to have more money. And we assume that one day we'll be happy. Do, have, be. That's the current status quo. Do, have, be. That's a model. It's a well-known little model. And you're in that rat race, and the more you have, I mean, there's that guy from, I think it's from Google. He wrote this formula on happiness. Spectacular guy. He lost his son. His son passed away young. Beautiful boy. Worst thing that can happen to a parent.
Yeah.
To anyone on this planet. I don't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
Not that I have any, but... And he wrote this formula on happiness. Very smart guy. But he realized no matter how much money he had, he wasn't happy. And when you flip the model and you start with B, so you figure out your beingness, your reason for being, and you operate based on that, and you do everything you do based on your beingness, then you have happiness from day one. So this notion of focusing on growing people through the power of creativity has given me a lot more joy and fulfillment for advertising, which is the second least trusted profession, second only to politicians. So now imagine I'm in this industry and I'm trying to be integrous, and I found a way to make it a really incredible experience for myself. But then again, being to Cannes recently again, this industry is at the heart of every single social platform. Without this industry, nothing, a lot of platforms will cease to exist. So we're actually in an incredible industry. It's just lost its way.
We don't have good work.
Go drive around now. I'm going to drive from here back to Joe Public. I'll go past about 20 billboards. Not one will be decent. 5,000 commercials created per month. You're lucky if you see decent ones. If you do see them, they'll most likely be for Chicken Licken and Nedbank.
But why? I mean, you just spoke now earlier about how this country, I mean, is it the Accenture, they've been going all around buying agencies. The Droga guy, was it David? He's, I don't know whether he said that or what, there's this notion that South Africa is one of the most creative country in the world, but now yet we don't have decent work. What is the problem then?
So it's such a tricky one, because I don't think people don't want to do decent work.
I don't think so either.
But it's such a... I've got a few hypotheses. I don't even know if it's true, but it makes sense to me. So for instance, in the 90s, when I started in 1990 in advertising, that first 10 years, South Africa was one of the powerhouses of advertising on this planet. I mean, you think back the commercials that came out of the 90s, and then 95, the turn of the country, okay? So then, of course, the work had to start being more inclusive, but there was spectacular work done back then. I mean, so much. TBWA was on fire. Jupiter Drawing Room was on fire. There was Lindsay Smithers, who became FCB. They were on fire. I mean, the work across the board, the big cell phone operators came in, like Vodacom. The work they were doing were like, the nation was talking about advertising. And then globalization happened, and internationals came in and bought South African agencies. So suddenly, the business leaders that used to be obsessed about their clients and doing great works for their clients had to start worrying about reporting to their shareholders and giving return on investment to their shareholders. So their eyes were taken completely off the ball. And for the next 20 years, as new people came into the industry, all it became about is how do you make revenue to pay to your shareholder? How do you make revenue to pay to your shareholder? Not how do you do great work that generates the revenue. And we saw a massive decline in the caliber of the work of this industry. And everyone's been conditioned in that way. The marketers, the agency leaders alike. And the creatives are left in small little pockets to do the little bit of proactive that keeps our profile up there. Because if you look at it, last year of the 7 South African campaigns that did well internationally, 6 of the 7 was small-scale proactive campaigns. Only one was a real piece of work for a real client, paying real media money. And that should be, that somehow is not in the consciousness of our industry.
And also, which makes it very, because now it's about profits. It's about let's make money. It's not that we don't have, we have proper marketers who know what they're doing, who are passionate and whatnot. The problem, because what you're saying, the problem here is putting the profit before everything else.
Well, and also it's no one's money. So if you think about it, our most creative client, it's her own business. So it's her own personal money. So she will say, if I spend, because your most expensive cost is your media cost. If you're in the main channels, like the traditional channels, I know all these clients are integrated in the social space, but the social space in terms of monetary value is still outvalued by the traditional space. And that's the most expensive cost. That's 80% of the cost of advertising is media.
Yeah.
So she knows that if she spends X million on media and she doesn't put a really powerful piece of creative in that space, she's wasting that money.
Yeah.
She's devaluing that money. The better the creative within that space, the more valuable that money becomes. She knows it because it's her money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's very, very few. There's a few.
This is chicken licking we're talking
This is chicken licking, but there's a few clients who really get the power of creativity.
Yeah.
Kensi Nobanda, her team from Nedbank, they really understand the value. It's a bank.
Yeah.
They understand the value of money.
The bank did that. The bank did that.
Can you believe the work that they're doing?
Yeah.
And the work that they're doing is really, really unbelievable within the banking industry.
Yeah.
The work that they're starting to inspire us to do.
Yeah.
Because they want it. They want, well, they don't just want great work for the sake of it. They know that it works.
Yeah.
And then, of course, another lighthouse marketer or marketing department in our country is the South African breweries. But that's also driven by AB InBev International. That's been 2 years in a row #1 client at Cannes, winning on real brands.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it adding value to their businesses because Nike and Apple was built on advertising. But we've forgotten about it.
I see what you mean there by clients that which gets it. I know that Matthew Boole is actually heading SA InBev. I think he's a creative advisor or something like that. You see, but now, how do we protect, and who should be protecting those people who are still getting it, who do it for the greater, like who understand the great work works? How do and whose job is it? Who should the industry protect, or who? I mean, I don't know if I'm getting this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't... Like, if you look at nature again, when there's a fire, it's devastating and terrible and kills a lot of animals and like plants and whatever, but out of it comes new growth.
Yeah.
So nature works in a very interesting way. So I don't look at this current predicament and get too... I'm not getting too can't sleep at night because of the state. No. Because I'm reading this interesting book on communication at the moment, beautifully written. I can't think of it. It's a famous international writer, but I can't think of his name. I think it's Paul Arden, I think. Yeah. He made quite an interesting observation. Like, imagine if everything was brilliant in advertising. As creative people, we're rebels.
Yeah.
We'd probably then want to go, I want to make crap ads. So the fact that it's so difficult to make a good ad is actually gives you quite a lot of, because now you're sort of swimming against the stream and you're a bit of a rebel, and you're in this battle to fight for the good work. I don't want to use these sort of terms anymore. But we're in this fertile soil to try and grow little ideas into beautiful towering trees, And I think if it was too easy, it wouldn't be as much fun. So I think there's an element of it. Sometimes you go like, I can't believe they don't want to do this. But I actually like it the way it is, because it also gives us more meaning to push for this agenda. And it gives us something that keeps us busy. But another insight, I was interviewed actually on stage at Cannes last year. And I was asked, how do you sell really brave ideas to clients? And I realized in that moment, the better the idea, the easier it sells. So one of our challenges, which we should own as the ad agencies and not blame our clients, is to learn to think of better ideas. Because the better the idea, the easier it sells. Whenever an idea don't sell easy, when you look at it, the idea is actually not that great. So we've got a greatness scale, 0 to 8, that we measure all our ideas on. Anything at 6 and above sells easy. Anything below,
hard sell.
Always a struggle. Back to the drawing board, reverts. And then it's like, okay, but why are we not coming up with as good ideas? Well, we don't get enough time to think anymore. We're absolutely absorbed in this tsunami of really this digitization, online, massive amount of what I just call rubbish. Majority of it, I'm sorry. Do less at a higher impact. Do less better, not more less. Those things have a lifespan of 20 seconds. I live in the online space, in the social space. We don't engage with that communication. Do less of it and put all that time into doing digital comms at a higher level. So we're so absorbed with busyness, we've forgotten about the business of advertising. So the business of advertising is ideas. So now we haven't created enough space to create enough thinking.
Do we have like great people, great creatives? And I'm asking you this again because you know you speak about how we are one of the greatest or the most creative people, you know, on the globe. You know, one of the greatest creatives comes from here. I mean, the guys in New York are doing big things. They are from South Africa, right? How do we retain that? How do we retain that for ourselves? I mean, are we? And I think it's more leaning to the transformation talk that, you know, some guys say you don't get paid well, that's why we leave the industry. Some guys says there's no, we are overworked, so we can't. This doesn't work. You know, how do we nurture that talent? How are we keeping that talent to stay in the advertising industry? You know, to get to a point where you are, you know, in their 50s, being in the industry, doing great work.
So now I must put up a little precursor here.
Yeah.
Because what's going to come out of my mouth, we need to package it as, I'm in my 50s.
Yes.
So I'm not a millennial, like all this. I mean, I'm out of my depth to speak about the youngsters.
Yeah.
But then I've got two guys in my studio who are number one in the country.
Yeah.
Who are 25 years younger than me. And
that's Tsepo and who?
Tsepo and Tsepo.
Tsepo and Tsepo. Yeah, Tsepo and Tsepo. Yeah.
As an example, but I've got many more examples.
Yeah.
That feels like they're cut from a similar cloth. So I think as people, we are, you know that saying, when you point finger, three fingers point back at you.
Back at you, yeah.
We tend to finger point a lot, and we tend to blame.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm not earning. I've never seen a person not earning enough if they really put in enough. I've never seen that.
Okay.
I've seen that happen when people don't put in enough. And I'm not saying work harder.
Yeah.
But I can show you so many examples of people that bring the goods, they bring the value.
Yeah.
That then get remunerated in kind because it's a value exchange.
Yeah.
And often I see the people jumping from agency to agency for more salary before they've actually brought the value. And they're kind of getting away with it because there's such a demand.
Yeah.
Particularly for young black talent. And it's a pity.
Yeah.
Because if you give yourself more time, like my example of Tsepo and Tsepo, that we're talking like a 13-year journey. It's not just a 3-year journey.
Yeah.
The Tsepo Mogorosi is about 13 years with us, Tomaholi about 7 years, That's a more longer, more sustainable way.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because there's such a demand for creative talent, people get offered these ridiculous jumps in salary. I've just lost a second person,
Sure.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then the network agency, I don't know, maybe they are fine with smaller margins, or they're more sustainable because they're part of a massive group, so they can actually get away with sub 10% margins.
Yeah.
So they can go and overpay for talent. We are not willing to overpay for talent,
Yeah.
but we know that people that come, this I know for a fact, and I can't say I'm proud of it because it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but any creative that come into Joe Public will perform better than before, and any creative that's ever left Joe Public, every single one has never performed to the same level as Joe Public.
Why
Because
is that?
the culture. And the culture at the moment is not even where it should be, because it used to be much stronger.
Yeah.
But with the new way of working in COVID, and we're sort of figuring out how to work this new hybrid way, it had an impact on the culture. It's still a good culture, but it's not as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
But the culture is supportive of creative people. So we nurture and grow creative people. And I don't believe that that's the mandate of most agencies anymore. And it kind of saddens me, because I see the latest person that left us, she was earning about in the early 40s, and she was offered close to 60,000.
Sure.
Now, I earmark that person as a future leader of significance, because I know to build that self-belief and talent and capability takes time and takes focus and effort.
Yeah.
And I would personally commit to it. And I don't think any other agency will have a founder that's committed to a person to that level.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the short-term remuneration was more important.
Remuneration, yeah.
Was more important than the long-term possibility. But that's each person's journey and choice. You know, I can't change that.
Sure. And you obviously, you can't match that. I mean, from someone jumping from early 40s to 60, that's ridiculous.
We can match it.
Well, I'm just saying,
for sure we can
it doesn't
match
make
it.
business sense.
No, not even that.
Yeah.
It's not a proper value. You immediately are not having an honest reflection on what is your real value that you bring. So we've got the 8-point scale. Every single person's potential is 8. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
All of us have unbelievable creative potential.
Yeah.
But at my level of experience, I'm maybe punching at 3 or 4. Because of the people around me, I'm producing work that's maybe at a 6. But now I might start thinking it's all me. But I forget about the leaders around me, the way the system's built to support your growth. And if you stay in that system, we will get you to your full potential. And I'd rather you then move, because then you can go into position and add real value. And you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself. But, I mean, I'm speaking now from 33 years of experience in the industry.
Yeah. Sure.
And again, that's each person's journey.
Yeah. And maybe I think also people jump around because, like we said, I mean, earlier we were talking about how there's a shortage. You once told me that there's a shortage of copywriters, particularly black copywriters. There's a shortage of those guys.
Yeah.
Now, shouldn't the industry like remunerate those people, you know, to their? Because I mean, when you go into other industries, when you have say a surgeon, for instance, you know, you pay them more because there's a shortage of those guys.
Okay, but then look at a surgeon, because I will tell you now that this industry pays unbelievably well. Unbelievably well.
Okay.
You want to become a lawyer, you're going to have to do your 4 years plus your 2-3 years to become a lawyer. So I'm not negating, but I think this short-termism thing that we're in is harming our industry, because we want too much too soon. And we're not honest with ourselves and going, but am I really bringing the goods? Do I really know my craft? I mean, I've seen people in this industry that's not been grown properly with 10 years of experience that can't properly art direct.
Yeah.
That is a huge problem. So we're not thinking sustainably, and we're not serving people's self-confidence. And we're not really addressing this, because the only way that you can put I'm not good enough and imposter syndrome to bed is to make sure that someone is exceptional. And at the moment, we're playing in a thing that to me is not serving human potential. And then again, I don't have a huge problem with it. I try where I operate to work with it. I mean, I've just given a youngster, without asking.
Yeah.
This person comes to my office. It was crazy. Completely on her own, with a whole list of what she believes we can improve at Joe Public.
Ooh, okay.
How amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, are you not nervous coming to the boss, giving me your list of all the things you want? And she
Yeah.
was, no, I think this is what we can do better.
Yeah. Because if you are egomaniac, you can say, what the fuck?
No,
Yeah.
geez.
I'm just saying, if you are.
If I am, but
Yeah.
but on top of it, what I sat and I thought, geez, the bravery, the interest, the passion for our business,
Yeah.
and you're not even a shareholder, and you've come up with, these are the problems, but I've also got solutions. This is what I can do better. On top of it, exceptional talent. Gave her a 30% increase without her asking for it. Because I just went, these are the kind of people that we want to keep within our business.
This is a young person.
Young.
Yeah.
Young.
Sure. She gets it.
So that, I think it all comes back to ourselves, because I also know how I operated before we started Joe Public. I operated exactly the same way as now. I don't operate different because I've got a stake in the business. I operated like this at Network. I operated like this at Solid Seavers. I operated like this at the art school that I studied. I knew that the more I put in, the more I'll get out, naturally.
Yeah.
And most people want to get out more for doing less.
Yeah. So, Dr. P, how do you now, as a leader, we've spoken about, purposeful leadership, we've spoken about a whole lot of things. Now, my question now to you is that I think on the more transformation type of a skew or whatever, how do you drive transformation as a leader in through Joe Public?
So, as always, as a white male, when I get into the debate of transformation, I have to stipulate up front that I think it's a never-ending journey. It's going to be, it's the same as the journey towards, like right now, I would say 2% of what we do is at the caliber of what I believe we should do.
Yeah.
And the industry used to be 60%, 40%. So 60% used to be fast, sort of short-termism. That's the model of advertising. And 40% used to be brand.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful, substantial work. 40, 60, 30 years ago. That's been reduced down to 98.2. So I'm on this journey to get it, to re-establish the balance. Transformation is the same thing. And that's going to be a never-ending journey. I'm going to exit this industry, God willing, in 30, 40 years. If I'm fortunate enough to be in it for that long.
Yeah.
And I'll probably still be on that journey. And I think transformation is a very similar journey. There's always more we can do creatively. There's always more we can do with transformation.
Yeah.
My approach started, and our approach as Joe Public, because it's not just mine, it's ours. We're a team. It takes a village to raise a business, not one or two people. And our approach, which I'm very proud of, before there was a triple BE scorecard, because you need to be at a certain revenue to get onto the scorecard. So when we were smaller, we were already engaging in transforming the business.
Yeah.
Why? So it starts with believing as a leader that diversity is the cornerstone of creativity. You got to believe that.
Yeah.
But now at the same time, if that belief does not result in your output being the best, that's why it was so important for us to become number one in this country.
Yeah.
Because then that's evidence
Yeah.
that diversity works. Right now, currently, in the globe, one of the top indie agencies are not diverse, and they're number one. So that to me is a problem, because they're making a case against diversity. So it becomes our duty as an example, as a shining example agency, to keep on pushing our transformation agenda, but directly link it to being the best, so that it validates it. So that's the journey we're on. Even at an ownership level, what I learned, and something that was very hard for me to learn, because I founded the business with my partners, and that transformation of equity at a board level was not an easy experience to get my head around. But I worked on it, and eventually I saw the power of it. And the power is magnificent, because if you are properly represented at a board level in terms of race and sex, and as many permutations as possible, you will experience high engagement at the bottom of the business. So the more diverse at the top, the more engaged people at the bottom. Because a young black woman will always relate better to a black woman at a board level. A young white woman will always relate better. Like, people just naturally relate. And if you can see yourself at the top, it's more inspiring. High engagement. But consistently, what we really driving to focus on now is the importance of linking transformation with exceptional output. And I'm not saying by any means that people are not capable, but if you do not grow people at the right pace, you negate that output. And that's what's always interesting for me, is we over-focus on the one, and I think they're both equally important, because you build self-confidence and you build self-belief. And when people are part of that journey, you're building proper, sustainable human beings. And I'm super passionate about that. So that's my journey. It's tricky with creatives. We're dealing in a society where parents don't even understand creativity. They just believe money is made by doctors, lawyers, engineers. We're struggling to get the intake to fill the seats that we've got available. But it's doable, because our biggest success story pretty much comes straight from the township. So that, to me, long term, is going to be one of the most, when they're not young anymore, they punch like serious freaking senior creatives. They are senior creatives, ahead of their years. They punch above their weight. They're the future leaders of our industry. And when that time comes, it's going to be a beautiful story.
And how do you get them? How do you get these guys? Because I mean,
sure, I've got my ear to the ground. I'm open. I heard this beautiful saying the other day: your mind works best like a parachute, open. I'm very open. I respond to people on LinkedIn. I respond to people. Like, I've had someone heard me on 702 speak, reach out to me on LinkedIn. They work at Joe Public today. So I'm when I spot talent, I will support talent. And I will grow talent.
You give time, you guys. Well, you give time to talent. Because some of the guys are not necessarily from your Vegas, AAAs and whatnot. They are really from the township, like you say. But and they need a little bit of like sharpening and crafting and whatnot.
We've just taken a youngster in, straight out of school. And he's in his interview. Very shy youngster, so shy. Amazing, reminds me of myself actually. And he was firstly, I could see he could draw. His drawings were spectacular, and I'm going, well, if you can draw, we can teach you. From an artisan and an art director point of view. And then the second thing he said is his dad's extremely hard worker, so he's a hard worker. And I was like, based on those two things, drawing and hard work, he's been given a chance. He's now on a 6-month internship.
Lovely.
And we've given him a mentor, and we'll see. So it's a slow build. And then also capital. The industry's in distress in terms of capital.
But I mean, don't we have those CETAs and stuff like that? I mean, do they work? They don't work?
They work, of course. We participate in the system, but it's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. I mean, you think about it. If you take a youngster from the township, the salary hardly covers the travel. And that travel is almost inhumane. Because now you have to get to work at 8:30, but you must get up at 4. So there's much more needed there. We saw on a 100,000 rand bursary, you need another 100,000 just to put the support in place for the youngster.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge.
It's
but
a
again, we're in an industry that operates, the more problems, the better, because then we're in a solutions-driven industry.
Yeah.
So these aren't negative things. I do believe I speak for ourselves, but also for the broader industry, we are definitely making strides. I'm often interested about the narrative that is so rife that we are untransformed industry, and I don't see it the same. And yeah, it's something that will play itself out over time.
Yeah.
But we remain committed.
Yeah. And it's all of us. All of us. It's all our duty to transform the industry.
Well, you like push it, but it definitely is. I mean, I'll give you an example, and that's the thing. Like I can do math. That's one of my talents. And if you keep on persisting the narrative that transformation remains like on a minority group's shoulders, that to me is you're not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
There's enough people that's been brought up into the top end of the industry of the economy to unite and stand together and uplift the 80% of South Africans that have to get by on 7% of all the capital in the country. That's the stat. 1% earns 67% of all the money. 19% earns 26% of all the money. And the rest, the 80%, must get by on 7% of the capital. That is wrong. That 1% and the next 19% is literally probably 2 million whites and 6 million blacks. So we need to unite and uplift the economic disempowered people together. So for me, if I'm a black South African and I start with my black partner a new business, and we're both male, it's our duty to bring women into that business. It's our duty to participate in transformation as aggressively as we do. And I think hopefully in time that will start to happen again. Where we actually see this challenge that we're facing as all of our challenge and participated in it collectively.
Cool beans. You guys won awards. I think about this past weekend. You guys did. You weren't big at the bookmarks. You guys. I mean, you and Xolisa. You guys were at the Drama Awards. I think it's a few months back. You guys were awarded the best creatives globally. So you guys won Creative Circle. You guys won at the Creative Circle as well. You really are doing well as a business. You are killing it, you know. So well, congratulations on all of those accolades. We see you, and I think also everything that you guys are doing. I think your CSI in the township. There's a school there. What's the name of the school? Forte. You guys are doing great work. You got this 25 years of, 25 bursaries for 25 years.
So we took our 25th birthday party budget and put it into bursaries because we felt within a distressed economy to throw a big party for a couple of $1 million is not as substantial as giving a bunch of kids bursaries. On the awards thing, just to be clear, awards to me is like money. It's a byproduct. You know, it's a byproduct of value and exceptional value through excellence. So I'm very passionate about this idea of phenomenal, exceptional. I'm not a perfectionist, but I love excellence because I've seen how much self-confidence it generates within the human. But yeah, the awards, they lacquer on the night. But then the next day you're back to the drawing board. And I also think what's wonderful is to experience a business growing from nowhere to top of the industry. And it's something I had my eye on even before we founded it. Because when I found advertising or art, I was really useless at most things. And then I was really good at something. Build my self-confidence, which is why I so believe in this idea of the better you are, the better your inside.
Joe Public is now international. You guys are in London, Belgium, and Amsterdam. How's that going now?
I think we're at the beginning of something really amazing. I mean, this idea of an Afro-Euro network that's indie really excites me.
Yeah.
This idea of exporting our talent across our borders, but still bring the capital home, excites me.
Yeah.
I mean, why is that only reserved for Sanlam, Discovery, Nando's? Why not an ad agency?
Yeah.
And I think Martin Sorrell was in his late 40s when he started WPP, and look today, 30 years later. So we never know.
Yeah.
You just got to give it a shot.
Yeah.
With the intention of growing our people, our product, our clients, and our businesses in those markets, and serve the economy.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Dr. P, for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a good one. It's been a lekker one. I think we should do another one. Well, you know, I feel like we didn't, you know. Yeah, but yeah, no, good one. Thank you, Dr.
Awesome.
P. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and good luck, man. Good luck with everything. The business overseas, the business locally. Yeah, all the work that you're doing. We see you.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, Dr. P. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And then, if you ever want to discuss the heart of what's at the heart of your business, I'm a WhatsApp away. It's a very interesting thing to interrogate.
Our business?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
This business?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
So
Let's do that. We need money. I'm kidding. Because now you're doing the same thing that he's saying, no, don't do that.
It's so fascinating because I started on this journey when I was bankrupt.
Yeah.
So it's because most people go like, but it only works because you've got money. And like, no, my friend.
Yeah.
I started on it when I was I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. And I changed my intention and my approach.
Yeah. So Dr. P, our business, it has is a similar model to what you believe in. So our business here is to celebrate greatness. We're celebrating greatness we also to educate. We need to educate that rural school girl in Tanzania or Mafikeng or whatever, to say, you know, you can come here. Like we were talking about earlier, about how parents are blocking kids from coming in here. Like, no, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a policeman and whatnot. And we also need to celebrate our guys that are in overseas or that are doing great work here, that are winning big accolades. We are doing great work. That's what this platform is all about.
So it'll be, and we're done, I know.
Yeah.
But you must figure out.
Yeah.
You must figure out how that thing sits together, because there's 2 things there.
Yeah.
And I've learned that when you're half your focus, you're half your chance of success. So you got to go like, okay, what's the intention? What's the act? But I hear what you're saying.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Cool, my brother. Thank you.
Cool stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. P. Really appreciate it. This is just what the doctor's ordered. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on the other side. Peace.
The stories are being told by the culture. Culturally, how people think is slowly dictating what the advertisers want to move towards. It needs to catch up, but what you find is that marketers who need to implement the speed are backwards themselves. Marketers who are not forward thinkers. We need brave marketing or marketers that can influence culture.